You can watch my next guest on High Heat on MLB Network at 4 p.m. Eastern, then listen to him on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Unleashed at 5 Eastern from Nationals Park today and tomorrow. He is none other than Chris Mad Dog Russo. How are you, Christopher?
Richard, how are you, pal?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, hanging in there. My buddy's over there, too. We're flying. What's going on here today?
You got Livingston, New Jersey's finest, and Mike Del Tufo.
Yes, indeed.
Chris Brockman from Maine and from other parts. What was the first All-Star game you ever went to?
Wow.
Yeah,
Covered. I remember the game here in '69. McCovey hit the 2 home runs. That's the last All-Star game in this area. Went to. I'd have to think about that. Probably, I went to a lot of them with Mike in the old days.
Yes.
The '92 game, which was a fun game, was at '93. I think it was '92 in Camden Yards. That's when Juan Gonzalez won the home run derby, and Griffey was trying to hit the warehouse out in right field.
Yeah.
And the home run derby in those days was in the afternoon. It wasn't at night like it was today. So it was hot weather, ball was flying out of there. It was '93, because the Giants and Braves had that great pennant race. I remember that one really well. I remember the '94 All-Star game in Pittsburgh, and we had Mickey Mantle. It was a year before he died in the booth, which is interesting.
What do you mean you had him in the booth?
Because we did a show from Three Rivers, and they had a celebrity thing. They had a celebrity softball game, and we were at that. And that's the game that Gwynn scored the winning run on a Fred McGriff base hit.
What was it like talking to Mick?
It was good. And we had Mickey Mantle on a couple of times. Mike loved him. I remember we had him on at Mickey Mantle's restaurant one when he wrote a book. And we did a lot. We that was right in the verge. Never had DiMaggio. But we did have Mickey, and never had Mays, but we did have Mickey on. We had him on then.
That was after Mickey said, that he had a problem with alcohol. That was his book.
It was. That was after he did the Costas thing.
Right.
We did the big Costas interview before he had the liver cancer. That was in between. The '96 All-Star game I went to in Philly. That's at the Bicentennial in Philly when Piazza hit the home run to win a game and Bonds won the home run hitting contest. So I've been to a lot of them. The Yankee Stadium one was great in '08.
One where Hamilton went yard 19 million times.
And last year, Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium. So that was good, too. So the All-Star Game's always had its niche. It really has.
So I know you said in the television-only segment that you conducted a town hall with the Commissioner, Rob Manfred, who's on this show tomorrow.
Right.
And that you hit all the topics that you think needed to be hit. What were those topics that you hit with the Commissioner?
Well, I mean, pace of play and like to, perk up the offense with all the strikeouts.
What do you say?
Well, I mean, they've come up with, the shifts we did a little bit.
I can't stand them. I got to get rid of them.
Remember, a lot of this has to be negotiated with the union. And the union right now and baseball, they're a little bit apart, partly because of the coldness in the offseason with free agents. So the relationship between the Players Association and the Commissioner's office on the Players Association angle isn't cooperative. So that is and you can't put in these changes. Look how long it took them to get the mound visits and the intentional walk, no pitch clock. So they've had some issues, both sides reaching agreement on some game changes. So
now,
until that thaws, you got a problem.
Well, I would think some left-handed hitters would not mind to get rid of this shift.
That's a good point.
That part of the union would like to get rid of this shift.
You can make that argument too. Now, you can also make this point where they don't tell Belichick how to deploy his 11 defenders. If they want to put a defensive lineman in coverage, they want to blitz a corner, whatever they want to do, they might have some rules with bump and run and all that, 5 yards, but they don't tell him where to deploy his personnel. You want to triple team LeBron, you can do that. You can play zone. So maybe the deployment of your defenders should be it should be really sacrosanct, that you should not be able to tell the manager where he can place his players defensively.
The difference, and here's how I would come back to this, Chris Mad Dog Russo, is that yes, you can't tell Belichick what to do on defense, and you can't defend or tell the defenders of LeBron how to defend LeBron.
Right.
But LeBron has the ball. In football, the offense has the ball. In baseball, only sport where defense has the ball. Possession of the ball is already in the hands of the defense.
I hadn't thought of it that way. That's fair.
So you have to, if you see what is happening, come up with something. Certainly since you're totally confused sometimes if you're a kid out there. You know, how the hell is the third baseman suddenly in short right field like they're playing a softball game?
You know, to me, it's up to the offense to adapt, but that's a good point. That's a very good point. The other thing that I think, I don't know how baseball solves this problem. You know, remember, the star pitcher in baseball is out of the game in the 6th inning. Nadal and Federer play a 5th set. LeBron's playing in the 4th quarter. Brady's playing in the fourth quarter. Verlander, well, he different, but most of the great pitchers don't complete the game. So you never see the great pitcher reach deep into the tank to see what's left, to let him gut his way through a big game in September or October because he's out of the game in the 6th inning.
What do you think Tampa has done this a few times where they start the closer, right?
It's so
do you think
stupid.
we're going to get to an age where relievers pitch the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th innings and the starters come in, or the big name players
and they're the
come
closer?
in the 4th and they pitch the rest of the game?
Remember, you see the Tampas do it because Tampa cannot afford the huge pitcher.
Right.
So as a result, that's a small market team.
But if Verlander's throwing 100 pitches and he's in the 8th inning, he's got to come out.
Right.
If he enters the game in the 4th inning, he can pitch into the 11th or 12th if it goes extras.
But you're also messing with a guy who's pitched for 15 years. That's a weird thing for him.
But I think all bets are off in baseball now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can make that argument, but you have to convince the starter that you're not going to start the game. You're going to pitch the 3rd and 4th inning. That is a little different.
And
Justin, get yourself warmed up.
He would still get the win.
But to your point, Chris, that's what was so amazing about Verlander's postseason performance last year.
Against the Yankees.
Right.
We saw him in these spots. And baseball's lost a little bit of that because of the advent of the great relief pitcher.
Right. Interestingly enough, too, Chris Mad Dog Russo here on the Rich Eisen Show from the D.C. AllStar Game, that I had somebody who is high up in Major League Baseball tell me, and I mentioned this on this show. This was earlier this year.
Oh, is this year? You got a lot of mileage out of that.
Now, when you say that, you make it seem like
you made it up. You did not. I understand.
I just threw it out there.
Right.
That it was the same. What it was letting the 9th inning of a team that's losing put anybody up, the first 3 batters in the 9th inning. And the same exact reasoning as you just gave me about the starting pitcher was told to me by this individual.
Let the best players play in the 9th inning.
That Brady doesn't sit when the game's on the line and the Patriots have the ball.
It's an interesting
Sidney
team.
Crosby doesn't come off the ice.
Good point.
Ronaldo doesn't come off the pitch.
Excellent point.
That's what they all said. And the hue and cry.
You got a lot of people, you know the way that shows you baseball fans are passionate.
You're rewarding the losing team.
You are, to a certain degree. You're making it unfair for the team that's ahead.
Right. And the team that's had the great pitching performance.
But you're saying right now it doesn't even matter if any of this makes complete sense, that the Players Association is not interested in discussing right now.
That's Christopher Russo's opinion on this. I mean, that's just, you can ask the commissioner when you have him on tomorrow. I do think there is a little, remember, we read the quotes. A lot of the players, and they were wrong because all the deals were good deals, but I know the players feel that there was a freeze out in last year's offseason. That gets to Clark, and he's not willing to be cooperative right now, and you got to negotiate all these with the union. So that's something to keep an eye on. Other than that, listen, you're going to have a tremendous postseason in baseball. You're going to have Houston, the Red Sox, the Yankees, probably the Dodgers, the Cubs. You are going to have some great. I mean, how about a Yankee Astro games, a 7-game series?
Well, I mean,
or a Red Sox Astro.
That's what I was about to say. One of those teams is going to have to get past the Red Sox first in order to maybe make that happen.
It's going to be the Yankees. Remember, the wild card winner. Let's say the Red Sox have the best record. The Yankees will play Seattle or Oakland, and if they win, they get the Red Sox in the first round. Oof.
Well,
because the Red Sox play the 4th seed, and the wild card team's the 4th seed. They don't do it by record; they do it by seeds. So the Red Sox and Yankees will play a 5-game series, and the winner will get Houston.
Well, we were discussing that.
That's pretty
and
fascinating.
their pitching will be all jacked up because they had to play the 1-game playoff.
The Yankees will have to pitch Severino in that one game,
or Chris Sale will pitch in that game.
Well, if he doesn't win the division,
right.
How about that? I mean, the Oakland Athletics are 13 over right now.
What a job they've done.
They are 2 wins better than the NL East leading Philadelphia
Fascinating.
Phillies
And
right
they're only
now.
they 3 back
And
of
they're
the
3
Seattle?
back of Seattle, 8 back behind the defending World Series champs. I do want to take a 60-second break, come back, ask you that poll question that we had. Which current 60-win team has the best chance to win the World Series? And then I'll you know what? I want to talk Wimbledon with you.
No.
I know you're a tennis
How about
guy.
that? I'm into that.
How about that?
You got it. I'm here for you.
And then I will give you the usual Christopher Mad Dog Russo wanting to ask me an uncomfortable question about the National Football League.
Yeah, give me that
which
chance.
I will always answer truthfully
Give me that
because
chance.
I'm made uncomfortable by these things.
Give me that
chance.
Yeah, there's a couple good topics with Wimbledon. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, we're back in 60 seconds with Chris. Back after this. All right, we're back here in Washington, D.C., another segment with Chris Mad Dog Russo. You can check him out on High Heat at 4 Eastern Time on MLB Network. And then, of course, his daily radio extravaganza on Sirius XM at 5 Eastern Time, live from Nationals Park. Speaking of High Heat, Pedro Martinez in studio in person next hour, along with Steve Garvey. All right, you have the floor in Wimbledon. Why should people care about it, Chris?
Well, I mean, I think it's the best tournament in the world still.
In the world?
Oh, yeah, that's much better than the U.S. Open with the tradition and everything
Oh, so you're
else.
talking tennis, though,
Yeah,
right?
tennis.
Okay.
Tennis. Now, golf has got the Masters, but I tell you, Wimbledon had a tremendous last 5 days, and they got 2 big issues that are interesting. Number one, they got to play a tiebreaker in these 5th sets. You can't have Anderson and Isner play 50 games in set 5. That takes 3 hours and 33 minutes.
insane.
And then have Anderson, the winner, or Isner come back 48 hours later. That's too difficult. That's number one. So they're going to have to do a tiebreak. And Wimbledon doesn't move that quickly. They're, Wimbledon don't tell us what to do. They're one of those. Mm-hmm. But they need to implement a tiebreaker. Think about what this tiebreaker caused not having one on Friday. They played 6 hours, which meant that Djokovic and Nadal played after. They could not get the match in.
Yeah, they stopped it.
Because 11 o'clock curfew, which is a hard curfew.
Right.
So they had to start again on Saturday, and then the women got annoyed, and the WTA, and they're wrong, but they got annoyed because, remember, they played them at 8 a.m. Eastern time, locally at 1. The women's match starts at 2. Djokovic-Nadal goes 2.5 hours. So the women did not know what time they were going to start their final. Mm-hmm. And everybody moaned and groaned, how do you do this to the women, blah, blah, blah. What did you want Wimbledon to do? Play Djokovic and Nadal at 6 o'clock at night after the women's final, and then have the winner have to play the next day? So they did the right thing, Wimbledon, but because of that long tiebreaker, it screwed up their whole schedule. Remember this, too. The fans who bought the tickets Friday for the men's semis, now they got their money's worth, but they didn't see the conclusion because that ticket did not work on Saturday. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as well. And I'll tell you the other thing the other thing I would say. First of all, Serena was awful. I've never seen her play worse. Give Kerber credit, but Serena was as bad as I've ever seen her. But think about this: Djokovic now has won 13 majors. Mm-hmm. Okay, Nadal 17 and Federer 20. Now you can make an argument that Djokovic is the best player of this era. He has beaten Federer at Wimbledon twice. Okay. He beat Nadal at the French Open. He beat Nadal this year's Wimbledon. He beat Nadal at the Australian Open. You can make an argument when all 3 of them are, and he's got a winning record against Nadal, 27 and 25, and he's got a winning record against Federer. So you can make an argument when everybody talks Nadal, Federer, that Djokovic is better than the both of them. That's how good he is. I mean, Djokovic is a tremendous tennis player.
Now, you say you can make that argument.
I wouldn't because he's 7 majors.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He's 7 majors, behind.
Okay.
7 majors. He got 20 for one, 17 for Nadal, 13 for Djokovic. That's 7 majors is 7 majors, and there is something for longevity, and Federer has that right now.
Federer, I remember when I was doing the U.S. Open with you. Back in the day with CBS Sports.
Yes, that's right.
You were doing that. Remember that?
Yes, I was. I did it a couple of years. You're right about that.
Same thing with me. Same thing with me. But just watching Federer in person, he doesn't sweat. And he's so effortless that you never know when he's going to uncork the most remarkable shot. The only person I've seen who comes close to it is Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball on a run.
Good point. Good comparison.
The only guy where he's just meandering his way out of the pocket, and all of a sudden, whoa, where the hell did that throw come from?
Good point.
That's the only comparison I've ever seen.
And Fed looked old there at the end of that when he lost. I'll tell you right now, I've been watching tennis for 50 years, 45 years. That third set, probably people didn't see it on Friday afternoon, between Nadal and Djokovic, in which Djokovic won a tiebreaker, say 3-set points, 10-8 in a tiebreak.
Yeah.
That's as good a third set, quality-wise, as you're ever going to see.
Chris Mad Dog
So that
Russo
was fun.
here.
Anyway, go ahead.
No. Now I'm going to give you the floor.
I get a chance now.
Yes, as always.
You got to go NFL Network. And obviously,
What do you want to know about the NFL Network? What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
last year,
Yes.
during that controversy,
Yes.
were you free as a talk show host?
Yes.
Was you down deep what you are, that is what you are.
Okay.
Were you free to address that dilemma
What do
with the
you,
players?
Okay.
You know, the president and the league. Were you free on the air
Yes.
to address that any way you wanted?
What do you mean address it anyway?
Well, you had to have an opinion on it. Who was wrong? Who was right? Should they be able to kneel? Should not be able to kneel? Was the Goodell wrong?
1,000%.
Could Rich Eisen go on there?
I know we're on the air at the same time, but you want to answer this question?
Well, I mean for the NFL Network on Sunday mornings.
Oh yeah.
Could you say what you wanted to?
I addressed Trump himself.
You did.
Into the camera.
Into the camera, yeah.
How about
the day after, 2 days after he called players the SOBs.
So,
Oh yeah.
you could if
you
you
always think that I've got no ability to speak my mind.
Are you allowed to knock the owners on an NFL Network?
What do you mean?
Well, if you disagree with the policy about
I
this,
disagree with the policy.
you can, and you can say it.
I've just said it
No
to you
pushback.
into
What
this
is it?
microphone. But I would say, yeah.
but no pushback?
I have not been on the NFL Network since the new policy's been on the air. I think it was a dreadful decision.
You did.
I do. Not
sure how
did. I
feel
still
about-
do.
I'm not too sure how I feel about it. Yeah.
The players, we were at the Thursday night football game last year. This group was at the Thursday night football game last year between the 49ers and the Rams. On Thursday night game, do you remember?
That's
it was
a
like
great
80,
game, Rams
80
won.
point, yeah, and everybody thinks Thursday night football. What a snooze.
That
And it
was a great game.
Phenomenal,
Great
phenomenal,
game. It was a great
right?
game.
Okay. And that was before Jimmy G is going to showed up in San Francisco. That's going to be a great rivalry.
That's a good point. It is,
So
yeah.
at any rate, one or two players kneeled. No one was going to do that this year. No one was going to do it.
And now they
but
made
there
it.
was concern. There was concern in the meeting room that if they didn't address it and one or two players began to kneel again, that they'd be caught flat-footed late during the season. And they needed to deal with it now. And instead, it just made a whole big hoo-ha. And I think players are going to, I think a lot more. Week one will be
Here is the bottom line.
fascinating
though.
watch.
Here is the bottom line, though, for the players. All right, this is fact. Fans who spend a fortune going to these games,
Yes.
use their whole Sunday, drive to the ballpark, take hours to get there, hours to get out,
True.
buy PSLs,
True.
spend a fortune.
True.
They do not want to be protested to on Sunday afternoons. Bottom line. And that is why the Patriots are booed. The Patriots, they do not want to go to those games. And listen, we all know the players have the right to do what they want to do. It's a free country. We get that. But the fan,
Yes.
the blue-collar guy who's been going to these games for 800 years,
And women.
and women, fair. They don't want to, get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, trek to the stadium, pay a fortune on PSLs, and then sit there and have the players kneel for the national anthem. They don't want it. It's as simple as that. And that's you can't blame the fans. The average fan going to those games doesn't want that. Now, you and I understand, we look at it a little differently, but the person who's going to that stadium doesn't want to sit there on his nice, happy escape day, doesn't want the world's issues ruining his Sunday, and they don't want to be protested to. That is fact.
And
that is fact.
And that is fact. But what I'm saying is that if a player does kneel, I mean, is that fan literally scanning the sideline to see if there's a protest going on?
But now
I
he
would
does,
proffer
though.
to say
Now he
that
does.
fan he or she is standing up with their hand over their heart, hopefully singing the national anthem, or not, getting concessions or going to the bathroom or trying to get to their seat. That's what I'm saying is that fans hear about it after the game, and I would proffer to ask the fan as well, who's I fully understand what you are saying, and I agree with what you are saying. But would that fan then not cheer for the player if they score a touchdown 2 minutes in the game?
Bottom line is he's there to have fun. He wants to for his team, so he's going to cheer.
So
But
there is
they booed the
a
Patriots.
large conundrum here.
It's a tricky topic.
It is a tricky situation, one that I thought would have been best left alone.
Here's the other thing. May I say this? This is fair. I'm going to say this.
I'm not going to censor you in any way, shape, or form, since that's the undercurrent of this conversation.
I don't have any issues. Players do what they want. Here's something else I want to do. Register to vote. A lot of them aren't. Go vote. Go vote for your local elections. Go down to town hall.
Yep.
Register to vote. Don't give me this. Well, I don't vote. I hear a lot of guys don't vote. Only 51% of Americans vote. That's ridiculous. Go vote and get the people out of office who you don't want to be in office. Kaepernick was not registered to vote. Did you know that? So I got Kaepernick out there kneeling down. Hold on now. Go vote. This is a free country. Everybody's supposed to vote. To me, that's an obligation. People died for people to vote. Vote. And a lot of players and a lot of athletes and a lot of fans, everybody, they always moan and groan about how this, that, and the other. Vote. Get people. Parkland. Vote. Get the politicians out of office with the gun control stuff. Vote. Vote.
But Kaepernick did put his money where his mouth was. He said he was going to donate $1 million, and he did to over 30 different charities.
I agree, but he didn't vote. He wasn't registered to vote.
So,
doesn't that bother you guys?
A little bit.
I'm unfamiliar with his voting status, to be very honest.
Well, he might be registered now, but he wasn't when this whole process began.
I am unfamiliar with his voting status.
I don't care who you vote for, but don't you think if you're going to make that conscientious stand, you should be voted?
Separate from that issue, I had a problem with Marshawn Lynch sitting during the national anthem, I believe, in a foreign country, and then not speaking to the reporters as to why he did it. That I have an issue with. I had an issue with if you are going to do it and you are asked, why are you doing it? And you are doing it because you're using your platform to create some attention on something that you think demands attention of people who aren't paying enough attention to it. You should then say why you are doing it. I had a big problem with that.
I also had a problem with the chief defensive back who just got traded. What's his name?
Oh, as Marcus Peters?
Marcus Peters.
Right.
He, on a Monday night, sat on the bench. And that day or the night before, we either had a shooting which killed 20 people, something occurred. I forget what it was.
I forget too.
Isn't it maybe that's the night that you make sure you stand?
Yeah, as you point, it is a tricky situation.
Tricky
Do I have one more segment with you?
As much time as you.
Are you sure?
Let's do some baseball. How about
okay. Well, when we come back, we'll have you vote on our poll question.
Even better.
Okay. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Chris Russo to finish up the hour here. Ian Rappaport's going to join us top of hour number 3 with Le'Veon Bell having a decision in front of him, apparently. That's what's going on here from Washington, D.C. The poll question is brought to you by the sizzling deals of the Honda Summer Spectacular event. Heat up your summer with incredible deals on the Accord, Pilot, and HRV. Hurry into your local Honda dealer before the sun sets on these great deals. Ask the poll question of Chris Mad Dog Russo.
Okay, Mad Dog, which 60-win team has the best chance to win the World Series? Boston, Houston, New York Yankees.
I'm going to say the Yankees. I think the Yankees are still the best team. I know the Red Sox right now got a 4.5-game lead. Red Sox had a little easier schedule. Yankees haven't had Sanchez. I think the Yankees have a better lineup than Boston, and I think the Yankees have a better bullpen than Boston. They obviously both, especially the Yankees, could use a pitcher. Astros could use a guy in a bullpen. The Astros beat the Yankees last year because they had home field, because they lost all 3 games at Yankee Stadium. The Yankee, Red Sox, Houston, baseball is unpredictable. Who knows? One of those 3 teams. There's going to be great postseason baseball with those 3 teams. I'll flip a coin because of Chapman, because of that Yankee bullpen. I'll take a run at it. I'll say the Yankees get to the World Series.
I have 2 minutes left. Where do you think Machado winds up end of the month?
I think he's going to Milwaukee. I think by the end of the week.
End of the week?
Yeah, I think by Friday he'll be on a new team. Remember, yesterday he came out of the game in the 3rd inning.
Right.
Yeah, and Buck Showalter was asked after the game, and he's like, what do you think? He goes, why do you think we took him out?
Yeah, he'll be out by Friday. He'll be. I think Milwaukee or the Phillies. Phillies can have the front office that knows them well because they work with the Orioles' Andy McPhail. Brewers need a shortstop. Brewers need to win the division. I don't think Dodgers, and I don't think Yankees. So I think Milwaukee or Philly.
Yankees don't need him.
And the Dodgers could use a shortstop, but they got Seager back for next year. It's a rental. I don't think the Dodgers are going to do that. They didn't go crazy last year. I think the Dodgers will. I mean, Arizona's possible. I'll say Milwaukee just for the heck of it.
Okay. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure, Rich.
It's
Thanks,
good to see you. Of course.
We love you. Good job.
Same to you. Same to you.
So
Guys,
Good to see you, Chris.
Mad Dog.
who do you think wins the home run derby tonight? You got any thought on that?
I'll take Aguilera, the kid from the Aguilar. What's his name? Kid who leads the league in home runs.
By the way, my Staten Island life just came right back at me.
I did that all the time.
I feel like
30 years, I should know. 30 years, I'm doing high heat for crying out loud. I'll say him. I'll make a run with him.
That guy. Him.
Oh my God! that felt like I felt like I was driving around my Honda Accord,
Circa
working with the Staten Island
1993.
Advance, listening to you and Mikey.
The Staten Island Advance, you're right.
Oh yeah, it was.
I know.
By the way,
were.
you got me through my days.
That Staten Island.
You and Mike got me through my days.
30 years ago. You're making me feel old, Richard.
Oh come on now. Stop. You look fantastic.
Not bad. Hanging in.
How many kids do you have?
4.
You have 4 children and you look like this?
58. I'll be 59
What's your?
next year.
How old is your youngest kid?
I'd be 13 Sunday.
By the way, you almost had an Antonio Cromartie moment right there.
We're getting
You're gonna forget.
Don't start. You getting me in trouble?
you forgot your kids.
No. All right, it's 13.
Okay,
So I
13.
get the 4.
Okay, good to see you.
Always pleasure.
Hey,
Rich, gentlemen,
everybody.
pleasure.
High Heat with Chris Mad Dog Russo. Check it out, 4 p.m. Eastern on MLB Network, and then Mad Dog Unleashed today, right? Correct?
5 o'clock.
Okay, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Back with Steve Garvey live with Pedro behind.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.